If you love cozy knitting projects that make you secretly happy it's cold outside, you're in the right place. Today I'm sharing my winter knitting plans for 2025 with you. A mixture of big squishy shawls, new sweater knitting patterns, and even a new technique that I'm planning to learn this winter. I also have a couple of exciting design ideas that I cannot wait to cast on. And in total, you are going to see 17 beautiful knitting patterns that I'm loving right now, along with my yarn choices. There is a lot of cozy inspiration ahead, so let's get started right away. If we haven't met before, hi, my name is Annika and I'm coming to you from Germany. I'm a natural yarn dyer as well as an avid knitter, and I help you create a handmade wardrobe that feels both intentional and beautiful. Let's start off with what I'm wearing, because this is a recently finished object and the pattern is called the Turtle Dove Cardigan by Sonder Yarn Co. This is a free pattern and I made my version with Nutiden yarn from Aurelia, held together with one strand of a silk mohair yarn. The silk mohair that I used is called Halo. It's from Sonder Yarn Co. and the colorway name is called Petrichor. I am super happy with how this cardigan came out. It's very cozy and warm and it was an absolute joy to knit. The sun has suddenly decided to come out, so let's see how this is going to develop, if we can manage with the blinds being open or if I have to close them later on. But let's get started with the first pattern that I would like to show you now, and it is called the Double Knit Scarf by Hello Hygge Life. I recently came across this pattern when I was doing some research for another video about different gift knitting patterns that I'm going to link for you. And it looks so elevated and cozy, and I would love to knit this one for myself. The yarn that I would like to use is either the recommended yarn, which is the Cashmere Classic from Cardiff Cashmere, or I think the Snevnook by Camarose would also be a beautiful choice. Both yarns, I imagine, are very soft and perfect for this project. This scarf, as the name suggests, is done with double knitting, and this is a special technique where you create a double layered knitted fabric that is stockinette on both sides. And this is actually a technique I have not done myself before, but I would love to learn it. And because I do not have any experience with double knitting, I was so glad to see that Craftsy offers a class that teaches you how to do double knitting. It's called the Double Knitting Fundamentals by Mary Beth Temple. Mary Beth explains everything very clearly: how to set up your stitches, manage 2 yarns at once, and keep your tension even. Watching the videos definitely gave me the confidence that it's completely doable, and I think the piece is going to be so squishy and warm. If you're not familiar with it yet, Craftsy is an online resource for all things creative, and they are very kindly sponsoring today's video. Craftsy is an online community and learning platform where millions of crafters, makers, and DIY lovers come together to find inspiration, learn new skills, and stay creative, especially during those cozy months of the year. They offer more than 2,000 classes across 20 different categories, from knitting, crochet, sewing and quilting to painting, photography, cake decorating and more. Each class is broken down into easy to follow lessons led by experienced instructors who walk you through each technique step by step. And another class on Craftsy immediately caught my eye, and it is called the Crochet a Made to Measure Granny Square Pullover by Brenda K.B. Anderson. Now, after seeing Linda Scuya's beautiful crochet sweater pattern designs, I knew that I definitely want to give crocheting a sweater myself a try, but I think I am not quite there yet to tackle that advanced of a crochet project. So when I came across this class, I thought, okay, this seems to be much more doable with my current crochet skill level. In the description of the class, Brenda says, have you ever wished you could crochet a sweater without following directions line by line from a pattern? And when you finish your sweater, it fits exactly how you wished it would? This is the class for you. I think another great thing about this particular pattern is the fact that it is great for using up leftovers. And what I really like about Craftsy in general is that they are always coming up with new classes so that there is constantly something fresh for you to learn. They also offer community live streams and you can ask questions and connect with other makers as well. If you'd like to join me in learning something new this winter, go to the link in my description box and you can get your first full year of Craftsy Premium for only $1.49. And this offer is valid for new members only. Thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring this video. Let's continue with something I have been craving in the mornings lately, a big squishy shawl that I can just wrap myself in the morning when I have to take the dog out for a walk because it has gotten quite cold here lately. There are a couple of different patterns I am considering right now. One is the Jaunty by Andrea Mowry, which is this beautiful squishy half fisherman's rib shawl. Another one that I think is very beautiful is the scarf number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This is the same pattern that also is featured in my all-time favorite sweater of hers, which is the sweater number 28. So we have these alternating sections between ribbing and garter stitch. And the scarf number 4 is actually a rather small scarflet, and I would really like to extend it and make it very long and how do you say that, deep as well. One more pattern I am considering, that's called the Sunday Morning Wrap by Espace Tricot. It's a free pattern and has a very interesting shape. It is an inverted trapezoid, which I think is a nice alternative to the more classic crescent shape or triangular shawls. And this one looks very cozy and squishy to me as well. It also contains some ribbing sections. And another option that I've talked about in numerous videos before is the Nightshift by Andrea Mowry. This is done with mosaic knitting and I think it looks very playful and colorful as well, which I do really like, and I even spun up some yarn for it. So I have 300 grams in total of this Blueface Leicester. Those are 3 different colorways that I applied together. And I think since this is a bit thicker, I don't think the 300 grams would be enough for a large shawl. So I also got some additional fiber, but I still have to spin that up. This is from Aurelia again. They not only have the unspun yarn, they also offer fiber from time to time. And I have these 2 beautiful colorways, these beautiful blue tones. We have Sophia and Valborg here, and I think this would look, let me see if I can show you all 3 together. I think this could look very beautiful together, but of course first I will have to spin this up and then I would be able to knit with it. I have 200 grams each for each color, and I think this should definitely be more than enough to make like a big cozy shawl for myself. Next on my list is finally finishing a very long-term whip. And if you are a long-time viewer of my videos, you might remember this project, and this is my dress knitting project. Let me give you a closer look. So this has been quite an ordeal. I started this project way back last year, I think in September of 2024. And then I knitted maybe up until here, and then I completely abandoned the project. I don't really know why. Probably because this pattern or this project requires a bit more brain power to knit on. It is an all over lace pattern, as you can see here. And I am very, very heavily modifying the pattern. This dress is based on an old knitting pattern from the 70s called Open Stripes, which I got off of Etsy. I'm going to link it in the description box. was only maybe $2 or $3, I think. But it is very short and not very concrete in the way it was written, and it was also knitted at a completely different gauge, and I am basically changing everything about this pattern. But I am now convinced that I definitely want to finish it before the end of December. I think it would be such a beautiful dress to wear during December or in winter in general. So I have added a section of ribbing that's not in the pattern, and that hits me exactly at my waist. And then I did some increases to, you know, get a bit more width for the how do you say that, the skirt part of the dress. And I am at the moment working flat because I would like to add pockets to the dress. So what I did is that I split for the front and back, and then I knitted back and forth just for half of the stitches, and I'm now doing the same for the front. And then I'm going to join back in the round and later on pick up stitches in the opening here, and then create some pockets. And the sleeves are going to, contrary to the pattern, are going to be long sleeved. I am not sure if I'm going to be maybe like do like a, how do you call that, a bell shaped sleeve. We'll see. But I am now very much in love with this project again, and I'm so happy that I picked it back up. The yarn that I'm using is again from Aurelia. So this is again the knitted in yarn, the unspun yarn. Let me see if I can show you. This colorway is called Apostrophe, and I'm holding it together with a strand of a silk mohair. That's the tint silk mohair from Sandnes Garn in the colorway 3511. And I think it is creating such a beautiful fabric, these two colors held together, and I am, very, very happy with how this dress is turning out at the moment. One of my favorite things to do in the winter is spinning. I think it's so meditative and perfect for those slow Sundays and the dark evenings. And I have been working on spinning up a sweater's quantity of yarn from Woolen Toe. I'm going to put a picture of the fiber for you on the screen so that you can see how it looked previously. And this is what I have done so far. So this is 200 grams in total. And I have another 200 grams that I'm currently spinning up as singles. This is a beautiful, or it used to be a beautiful art bat. That's a combination of merino and recycled fibers. So the pops of color are the recycled fibers, and I love the way how it is turning out. I am planning to hold the hand spun as singles and combine it with a strand of a silk mohair yarn. I am not really sure which colorway I should use for the silk mohair, so if you have any suggestions, this is how the yarn looks, please let me know. As for the pattern, I am also still undecided, but here are a couple of options I am thinking about. I really like the late checkout sweater from Veronika Lindberg. This is a rather loose fitting drop shoulder design, and I think this could look so cute with my hand spun. I also really like the Monday sweater by Petite Knit. I have not knitted it myself before, but I heard a lot of great things about it. It's a very classic sweater, and it has this classic raglan construction, which I always quite enjoy. And there is another pattern that I really like called the Mia sweater by Coco Amour, I think. Yes, that is a little more elevated with this broken rib on the sleeves, which I also really like. So I think this would be another interesting option. But if you have any other suggestion for a more basic sweater knitting pattern that would work great with my hand spun, please let me know in the comments. I would also really like to cast on a bit of a thicker sweater this year, and I am thinking of maybe using a tweed yarn because I'm always very drawn to those. I do have one skein of a tweed yarn here, and this is the Irish tweed from Naturafil. Let me give you a look. It's this beautiful turquoise with these pink tweed flex, and I think it looks absolutely adorable. The colorway is, where is it? 4805. And there are several patterns I am considering. For one, there is the number 6 Guernsey Sweater in Tweed recycled by Sandnes Garn. This is reminiscent of those traditional Guernsey style sweaters that fishermen used to wear. So we have these different sections that are all created by alternating knits and purls, and I always really like those. And then there is also one by Lene Samsø called the Peggy Sweater. That's also very beautiful, I think, a bit more elegant than the Sandnes Garn version. I knitted the Porcelain Damask Sweater by Lene Samsø last year, and I absolutely loved it, both the knitting process and the finished object as well. And so I think the Peggy Sweater would be a great option. And another one that looks a bit different, but I think is equally as beautiful, is the Lanark Sweater by Rebecca Clow. This has a zipper and this all over half fisherman's rib. And yeah, I think this would look great in a tweed yarn as well. So those are the different options I am considering at the moment. I'm not sure if I should get more of this tweed yarn here. I only have one skeins at the moment. Or if I should maybe opt for the Peer Gynt by Sandnes Garn, which is also a great yarn and I have used previously. And yeah, I think they have some beautiful tweed options. I think there is one in a natural color. It's the 2523. That's a beautiful tweed yarn in my opinion. Next up, let's talk about some socks. And I am currently still working on this pair here. This is the Ex Libris sock pattern by Helen Stewart, and this is part of her Handmade Sock Society number 6. And I really love how this sock is coming out. I'm using my own naturally dyed yarn. So we have this beautiful dusty shade of pink. And I also have this speckled colorway that I'm using for the main part of the sock. And the dusty shade of pink is for the heels, cuff and toe. And yeah, I love how this is coming out. I just need to take the time to finish it. And by the way, if you would like to give natural yarn dyeing yourself a try this winter, please do. It's so much fun. And in fact, I do have a free mini challenge that teaches you how to dye a skein of yarn using avocados. That's done via 4 different mini videos that you get straight to your inbox by email, one for each day. And if you follow along with the dyeing process, you then have a beautiful dusty shade of pink naturally dyed yarn yourself by the end of it. I think last week got some pictures from someone who recently completed the avocado challenge. I'm going to put them on the screen for you. I always love to see your results. It makes me so happy that other people are getting to know the joy of natural yarn dyeing themselves. So this is my Ex Libris sock pattern that I'm working on, and once I am done with those, I would love to cast on 2 sock design ideas that I've had in my head for quite some time now, but I just didn't find the time to cast on quite yet. And for the first pair, I would like to use this yarn. So this is Rambler from the Woolly Thistle. This is a beautiful non-superwash all natural yarn. The colorway that I have here and that was very kindly gifted to me by the Woolly Thistle is called Cinnamon Fern. And this base is a mix of White Dorset, Corriedale and Romney, and it feels soft but a bit toothy at the same time, and I think it's going to make for a beautiful pair of socks. So this is going to be sock design number 1. And for my next idea, I would really like to use again Nutiden yarn from Høne Roer. I have this beautiful neutral gray plate here that is a colorway I'm blanking on the name at the moment, but it was from December of 2024, I think. I'm going to put it in the description box for you. So I would really like to use this one for my second sock design and hold it together with a strand of a silk mohair, because I feel like since this yarn is a bit more fragile to work with, since it is unspun, it really benefits from holding it together with one strand of a silk mohair, because you have really something to hold on to. It doesn't break as easily, and you also get this beautiful halo that you always get when you knit with a silk mohair yarn. And another pattern that I am definitely going to make this winter is the community slippers by Helene Rönnqvist Knudsen. They recently came out and I think they look absolutely adorable, and in fact I've decided to knit 4 pairs of the slippers, one for each of my daughters, one for my husband and one for myself. I think this is such a fun pattern. You knit the slippers first and then you felt them either in the washing machine or by hand, and then if you like you can also add this super cute embroidery on top, which I'm definitely going to do for my pair. I think my husband probably wants a plain version, and for my daughters, I don't know, we'll see. I'm definitely going to discuss it with them and see what they would like. The yarn that Helene used and that I am going to use as well is by Sandnes Garn. It's the Fritidsgarn, and this is perfect for felting. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to casting on this project very soon, and then I am going to give the slippers to my family members for Christmas. And for the first time ever, I have gotten a fiber advent calendar for myself this year, because when I saw the pictures I just could not resist. I decided to get a fiber advent calendar because then my plan is to spin a little bit each day starting on December 1st all the way up to Christmas, and then if I manage to keep up with the spinning, ideally I would love to cast on for the project immediately afterwards. So I ordered the advent calendar from the German dyer Wollreinheit, and this is a fiber advent with 600 grams of blue-faced Leicester fiber in these beautiful jewel tones. I'm going to put up the preview for you on the screen. And I would really like to make a blanket with these yarns, and there are a couple of patterns that I am considering. Okay, first I'm thinking about doing one of the beautiful crochet blanket patterns from Mallory Crawl. She has this Nature's Palette Hexie CAL 2024 with these hexagons, which I think looks super cute. And another one is called the Aurelia Solid Granny Square Blanket with these squares, which I think is also very beautiful. Another option that's a knitted blanket is by Laura Penrose, so the Stella Quilt blanket. Yes, the Stella Quilt blanket, and that is reminiscent of those sewn quilts, and I think that's absolutely adorable and would probably look very beautiful with my handspun fiber as well. And there's one more crochet option called the Flowers in the Snow by Solveig Grimstad. And yeah, that's also a very fun, playful, colorful version that I think would work lovely for my handspun. Let's see, I'm really not decided which pattern I am going to make yet. So those are my knitting and crochet plans for this winter. I'm always looking for something extra comforting and a way for me to slow down during the colder months of the year. And as always, I really like to focus on natural fibers and knits that I can use again and again for years to come. That's always very important to me. So I would really like to know what you are planning to knit this winter, or what you are maybe already knitting on. So please leave a comment and let me know. And thank you so much for spending this cozy moment with me today. Happy knitting, happy making, and see you next time. Bye!